Good mo Good morning actually, because right now it is 12 a.m. in the morning and I am recording my presentation on hardening recommendation of database focusing on the Postgressql and it is for Cyber 4220, which is also known as cyber system security. First, we are going to discuss what a database is. First of all, it is a collection of data which is organized or structured. It can be organized or structured. It can also be referred to as related data which is in a structured form. It can be stored at the computer system. A man is managed using the software data management system, which is so one of the data management system is the PostgreSQL that we will be discussing while focusing on Ubuntu 1804, but we are going to be discussing that in a later chapter. And it is also organized in rows and columns. It is also indexed so that data can be updated, expanded, or deleted easily. Computer database typically contain file record data like transactions. So basically, another form of database are the file record type of database that is used for money transaction, which is the one we use in the bank, the one we use for sales and customer details, fee details for student and product details. So part of a database is that what we use in our um, day-to-day lives, like when you go to stores, all those the the S is it called this queue is actually stored in a database. So whenever it is needed, it is actually that's where it is retrieved from. So like when you buy bread and everything. So all those unique skills that is used is actually stored in the database. Database components, we have the schema. The schemas are like the tables, numerous tables are what make a schemas. A tables is made from a column and a row, and we also have the column itself. So the column is actually what contain the attributes. The rows is actually what contain each of the variables. So attributes and variables are actually the column, I'm so sorry. The rows as the number of people or the number of skills that are being created. Another thing we'll be discussing in detail is the type of database. In general, there are like a lot of data type of databases, and each database is actually depend on the organization used. So the type of organization that the type of organization features will determine the type of database that will be used as a general. So one of the type of database we have is the cloud database, which is run on a cloud computer platform. It provides access to database. It makes underlying software stack transparent in a network. And this is also actually a very new type of database that is being used in the organization today. Another one we have, it is the distributed database. The portion of the database are stored in different locations. The process is distributed to replicate among different points in the network. Sorry, this should be network. So I'm going to go ahead and correct it by writing network. I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. So another thing is the relational database, which is made up of a set of tables with the data that fits into the predefined category, like I mentioned. So the data collected, it fits into the predefined category, which are like the variables and the attributes. So these rational database are the Oracle, MySQL, the Microsoft SQL Server, the Postgresql, and we are talking about Java. We are talking about things like that. So the object-oriented database is represented in form of object. We have the data warehouse, which is designed for fast query and analysis. We have the NoSQL database, which is also known as the non-related database. It allows unstructured and semi-structured data to be stored and manipulated. And then we do have what we call the graphics database, which store data in terms of entity and the relations between entities. Another that okay. Now we are going to discuss the challenges administrators faces. So, when we are so the administrators are the one that manage the database, and sometimes database is just numerous. It takes a lot of time to figure out which to use and things like that. So a couple of challenges that the administrator faces are the fact that absorbing significant increase in data volume. So basically, you're just when it comes to data, you just keep inputting data. It takes a while before you start to clean the data to figure out what is needed and what is unnecessary. So it takes a while. We just keep absorbing the data, and sometimes it can be very difficult for the administrator to manage as a whole. And they also have to make sure that they have to ensure the security of the database. That's why that is where the iCloud data come in. They have to make sure that where the data is being stored is extremely secure. The data that are being collected and stored into the database is also secured, and they have to also make sure that they are also keeping up with the demand, meaning as they are getting the data into the database, there is also enough data to be taken out of the database for other company, the organizations to use in order to find what they are looking for, or in order to find the things they are trying to look for. Like there are sometimes whereby, like for example, now at my workplace right now, we are actually doing the end of year result, meaning that there is also lots of data that are being collected from customers that will need to be researched in detail to be able to find out if we're able to meet our end of year goal. So all those data are what is retrieved from the database in order for that to happen. Then we also have to make sure that the managing and maintaining of database and infrastructure, meaning that you have to make sure it's clean, you have to make sure it is organized, you have to make sure it is in the right place so that whenever it is being retrieved, it will be easy for it to be retrieved. And removing limits and scalability. So with this, when it comes to database, it is unlimited. So to know the data to remove out of the database can also be very challenging to the administrators, meaning that they actually have to know what they are doing for them to know what is needed by the organization in order to know exactly what to remove and what not to remove. Okay, so right now, remember we did mention that what is that where PostgreSQL comes from is a relational database because it uses tables, it uses column, it uses row, and it also uses schemes. So when it comes to PostgreSQL, it is actually a open source object rational database system. It uses and extends the SQL language to store and scale the most complicated data workload. It has integrity and it is very, very reliable. It runs all major operating systems that has automatically that is automatically consistent, isolated, and that is also very durable. It has powerful add-on like the Postgres database extender, and the Postgres is free and is like I mentioned is an open source, which means you will never need to pay anything for you to be able to use the service. So the key features of Progress is that it helps developers to build application. It helps administrators to build fault-tolerant environment by protecting data integrity. It is very compatible with various platforms that uses all major languages and made well. It offers the best sophisticated locking mechanism. It supports for multi-version concurrent control. It also helps support for client-server network architect. There, and the standby server is also a standby server and is also highly available at any point in time. So we are going to talk about a little bit about different type of data types that is supported by Postgres. We have the text type. The text type is when you're trying to sort text variables using the char variable, which when you're looking at char variable, you're looking at the actual text itself, the var chart and the text. Then when you're talking about binary data, you're talking about the binary string, which can be used in storing both odd and value 0. When it comes to networking, it helps optimize the data work and data. It also helps with the arrays. But what I love about it is the volumes. I never actually know that it is the PostgreSQL that actually helps in creating the volumes rule, whereby whenever you have the true, the false, and the null, whereby the true will be represented by 1 as a numerical form, 2 has for the false, and 3 depending on how you actually define the data. And so I'm just talking about each one of them that I actually defined. And we have the numeric types, which helps support integers. Okay, then the next thing we are going to discuss about is how to configure Postgres on Ubuntu. You have to download the PostgreSQL using the code listed here. After that, you have to make sure to utilize the Postgres account, meaning that once you download it, you're going to utilize the account, and then you now switch to the actual Postgres platform by using the code listed. Is in that particular Postgres platform that all the configuration is going to be done. It is where you're going to create the role. It is also the same at the same place that you're going to create a new database, and it is also at the same place that you're also going to create a data table also in the warehouse. So once all those things is created, you configure it to fit exactly what is needed. Then you're going to test it. After testing it and making sure that everything works, you have to make sure that the testing is deleted so that it will not be stored in the data. Then the next thing we are going to discuss is how to harden Postgres on Ubuntu 18.04. So you have to configure the SSL, which is going to be used in protecting the data as it is being sent. You actually have to use the grant statement to help determine which users are allowed to access particular database. So it's like creating a rule, but like when we're creating a rule, an example, like when we're creating a rule for Ubuntu itself to allow protocols to get in, we use IP tables. In Postgresql, what is used is the grant statement. The grant statement is what determines which type of users can access a particular data. Then, in order to harden it also, we have to create separate roles for each application to help keep the user and data separated so they can be their own entity. So once you are calling in for the user, you're actually focusing on the user, and when you're calling in for the data that the user use, it is easy to also do that. So when you're trying to combine it, it will be easy to figure out which user used which data. Then it will be easy to get out. You also have to disable the remote connections. After disabling the remote connection, you have to prevent connection from network that does not require database access, meaning anything that does not have to do with retrieving, that does not need access into this database cannot be put in, cannot be given access to, because that's how majority of the hackers get in. Because if you're allowing remote connections, and if you're also allowing anonymous, like anonymous, I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce it very well, um, people or data user to access the database, they can retrieve more and more important data than they are supposed to. Then you have to make sure that the updates, the monitoring of the database inquiry is done every single time also. By doing that, everything can be safe and secured. And here are my resources. Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I will appreciate your feedback to see what else I need to work on next time. Have a wonderful night. And yes, I'm going to bed now. So good night.